One had to get one had to get a swig of some sparkling drink. 0 calories, guys. You have to respect the 0 calories. There's so many great drinks that you can have in this world that have tons of calories. They're everywhere, but it's about time that we started to cut out the calories, guys. This is a nice little drink here. Got it at my local supermarket, because America's great that way. We can get whatever we want pretty much at any freaking time, whether it's good for us or bad for us. My name is Jason J. Daniel. Guys, welcome to the Jason J. Daniel Show. We are live on the internets. I'm going to go ahead and pin this to my profile here on X, the old X machine. The internet is incredible. I can use a laptop. I can use a an internet podcast microphone. I can use my phone. Invented. Sorry about that. Invented by Steve Jobs himself. I had to check my sound to get the word out to talk to you. And this is a monumental day. So I had to jump on. I had to jump on the podcast just to chat with you, man, just to have a simple talk about life and about peace and about understanding and about how epic today is. Now, right now on the East Coast, it's 10:30ish, a little long. Yeah, 10. I'm starting off late. I hate it when I get going so late. I was trying to shoot for a little earlier, but I was wrapped up. I'm doing graphics, things come to my mind when I'm thinking about show notes. I get show notes during the day. I had to set up some stuff for you guys to watch because it's more interesting to go over videos together and get right to the heart of the matter. And it's wonderful that we have so much video now in society. It's all video. We can see everything going on almost any time instantaneously. It's amazing. Twitter/X is incredible. YouTube, Rumble is a real powerful tool. If you're more on the conservative side, there's a lot of good conservative stuff on Rumble, but also you have both sides, sports, liberal viewpoints. If you are inclined to YouTube, you're going to get much more liberal viewpoints, but they're starting to open up their censorship. I mean, you can find my podcast, and they throttled me earlier last year. They gave me a strike because I was criticizing New York City and the New York City mayor and how crime is out of control and how they're just puppets out there to the Democrat machine, right? So I got throttled and thought maybe my account would never go anywhere, but here we are. And I just dropped a video a couple of days ago that's doing really well on California politics. So you guys have always proven that you will watch what moves you. Everyone does, right? So today's monumental. I want to talk about the art of the deal is real, man. And I want to talk about Donald Trump. We have to talk about the president. Trump brings peace to the Middle East today. He's a strong leader. And it turned out, I mean, there's no doubt, but it turned out the key, the Middle East peace crisis has been going on for 20 years, maybe, well, longer than that, but just recently, the last 20 years, it's just been a consistent, powder keg, right? A time bomb, if you will. And who would have thought? Everyone's tried to crack this code. Every president that we know in modern times has tried to crack this code. Jimmy Carter really messed it up, right? That was right around the time. Carter was right around the time. Obviously, Iran. That was such a big deal that really shaped a lot of foreign policy going forward. And then the Palestinian terrorists, the PLO, if you recall, that's what they used to be called, the Palestinian Liberation Movement. They were one of the worst scourges on the Middle East and then eventually on American society with the threats of terrorism. And in the 70s, it really became a big, big deal because of the Olympic massacre in Munich. And I'm gonna take some time, not a lot of time tonight, but I'm gonna break down some of the history for you because one of the biggest issues with understanding this is realizing what you don't know, right? We don't know so much. There's so much we don't know and about the Middle East and the situation, unless you're a Jew or someone that really understands it or live in Israel or if you are an Arab that's been affected by it, unless you really know how generational this is, you just don't know what you don't know. But the one thing that I do know is Donald Trump did it, and we are all seeing that. Everyone Everyone knows it's real. And there's a couple of ways you will know it's real. I know that we're going, okay, how is this real? Well, one, uh, the key was think about this. Here's my intro again, and I'll show you some video from today and some articles that are really interesting to me. But think about this. If you're old school like me, if you lived a little, you know how much trouble this has caused the United States and how much frustration and how every president, Clinton was very focused on this and was very close and just didn't pull it off. And I'm going to show you some video of Clinton talking about how close he was and how it was one of the things that he always regretted how that didn't work out. But there's always been people on the other side of each, Israel and Palestine who have either assassinated somebody key or set off some sort of bomb or did something right at the edge of peace to make the entire thing just a complete waste of time and then set everyone back. And there's a reason why they did that because they were not afraid of America. They weren't afraid of Israel, right? Usually it's Palestine. In some cases, Israel had people that were really trying to interrupt the peace process, but mostly it's Palestine. And then just any radical who wanted to try to take credit. But it it always was something that eluded our presidents and especially Clinton. And the one thing that I never really understood until today, it occurred to me that it's all about the real estate. If you think about it, they're all fighting over the real estate, right? And then Gaza, right? The real estate. So who better to solve this than a real estate developer? It's brilliant. Donald Trump is a real estate developer first. He's a builder first. That's who he was. That's how he's been. And then on top of it, he's a celebrity, right? And a TV guy, a TV show guy. He's really a TV show reality star, if you think about it. I watched The Apprentice for 10 or something years and loved The Apprentice. I loved the Trump brand. Like I was all in. So when he came down this escalator and decided to run for president, I knew he was going to win because I was like, people have no idea how powerful his brand is beyond the things that might have been unsavory that he said about whatever, right? It's history now. But here we are, Donald Trump, and look at the arc, right? We went from a mugshot last year, right? Yeah, the year before, about 2 years ago now, because it's almost a year of his presidency, first year. We went from a mugshot, them trying to put him in jail like 80 years or something, to standing at the at the podium of peace, like solved the Middle East peace crisis, brought the hostages home, and that's how you know it's real. The hostages came home, and that really seemed like an impossibility. Really, it was people. I got people who I care about were texting me today saying Trump did the impossible. People are seeing the impossible. You don't get if you don't understand how important hostages are to terrorism in the Middle East, you just don't understand. You don't get it. So for Hamas to say take them back and then we'll find we'll give you the bodies as well as, that's just staggering. It's staggering. So I'm staggered. A lot of people, old school folks that I've been listening to today are staggered, and the new school haters are silent, except the lunatics that don't understand that they're lunatics. So they're going to say what they're going to say. But that's how one of the ways I know it's real is hostages came, they gave them up. And that never happens unless you kill so many terrorists that they're forced to do it or you rescue them. And that's what the point of, in my opinion, the point of the violent assault on Gaza was to send a message that you will give us these hostages back. And that was a firm line for the Israelis. And I'm not going to exercise it and get into all the pros and the cons because I don't necessarily have a side. Because one of the things I believe is it's not our business to be involved in the Middle East. I've always thought it was a terrifying idea. And yes, I'm not a beatnik, but I'm not a globalist, right? In that sense. Now Trump is, and I get that. And unfortunately, we have to be a global power. But instead of being like drawn into everything, Godfather 3, they keep pulling me back in, right? Pacino. It's Trump dove in head first because he understands the assignment. Trump knew the job. He knew this is the job because an unstable Middle East just means we're next on the agenda, right? It is strength. That's important. It's peace through strength. So a strong leader, we'll get into Trump and breaking that down, why they respond to, I'll tell you why I think they respond to him so well. Because he's just like them. He doesn't give a fuck. Donald Trump is like them. He'll kill you. That's what they needed. They don't respond to anything in the Middle East unless it's like death, strength overpowering you, or money. And that's also really key because Trump got together. He said today, and I believe it's true, and they all said it was true. The reporting, he got the most richest, powerful, like folks in the Middle East in the same room to broker this thing to go, okay, where do we go from here to rebuild Gaza? It's crazy stuff. It's crazy stuff. And so he is a real estate mind. And look what he did to New York. I mean, it's undeniable. Donald Trump is a real estate magnate. It's undeniable. I mean, at this point, to deny and try to say Trump is not one of the most influential presidents, whether you like him or not, to deny that he has changed history, you're just either ignorant, low IQ, or too young to understand, or you are a purposefully self-deceived human. And that's highly possible, or you just don't know anything. And I don't blame you because it's complex. So I don't blame anybody that doesn't understand how huge of a victory this is for America and for the world. I understand that you don't understand if you don't understand. I don't blame you. It's complex because it goes back 50 years almost. Like, for example, Munich, the Munich massacre, people still think about that every day. They don't forget, they remember it. Israel remembered it for 20 years. They hunted down the people responsible and never gave up. And they created a team of assassins. It's an amazing story to get revenge and vengeance for what happened in Munich. And if you don't know about that, we'll talk about it really quick, a little bit, and you can Google it. But if you understand Munich, you understand Israel because they did that for 20 years. And make no mistake, Trump knew Netanyahu was willing to go another 4-5 years of just killing anything that moved in Gaza to get the hostages back to make a point. And a lot of people do not appreciate or understand that mentality. It's a warrior mentality. Netanyahu's a killer. If you don't know, you should look it up. Mossad, he was special forces. He personally killed terrorists by his own hand. His brother was murdered by terrorists in an attempt to free hostages. You see, hostages are everything for Netanyahu. So you have to understand the people, the players, and then the people and the region to understand where this led to and how incredible this is. And yes, a lot of people last week when they knew it was close, they were concerned saying, this will never. The Dems are sad, by the way. I just want to say that they're all sad, except the old school Dems. Clinton, the Clintonistas, the Clinton camp, they're actually very, very positive. Some of the Bush people are very positive. Bush really never wanted peace in the Middle East. I mean, he thought if you kill everybody, they're going to have, he just thought that was the way because he was just, to put it nicely, he was just misled. He made a tragic miscalculation. But 9/11, again, that was our Munich. Like everybody has their thing. 9/11 changed everything. The mentality was different. Unless you lived through it, you just don't get it. I was a baby when Munich went down. Was I even born? I think I might not have even born. See, I'm not that old. I had to say that. I'm not that old, man. I was maybe I think I was born. Well, I think I wasn't born yet. A couple years later. But 9/11, clearly I was around for that. And we all understood what Bush was doing until it went really horribly wrong. And then we understood what they were doing, which was to try to rebuild the Middle East by violence and aggression and war, which is what everyone thinks that's what they've always responded to, right? We've been misled by the media and misled by our own sensibilities, thinking, okay, well, all they do is blow each other up and it's just always a constant war. So they must just understand war. But no, what they understand is real estate. And that's what it was all about, the war over land. Ultimately, it boiled down to land. Because if you don't have land, you have nothing. And if you understand the government and the state of Israel, they are a baby state, a brand new state, a brand new, I guess, country with borders, because they were always they were like a nomadic people. And I'm not trying to get biblical on you, but it's clearly biblical, right? And that's one of our connections. A lot of Americans are connected through biblical doctrine, through the Bible, because of Israel being the chosen people, right? And then Christians have, adopted Israel as and the causes of Israel because of Christianity. So a lot of Christians will be okay. We support Israel no matter what, and a lot of Americans do because we've been allies with Israel, and Israel's helped us stop terrorism, and we've helped them. But it's been a symbiotic relationship to fight terrorism and also to try to bring peace. And Israel has has a fucking big stockpile of nukes, so it's important to have allies you're on the same page with. And they have a great military, and they say the best secret service, and then we're number two, and then who knows where China's at, but I think the UK may be three. James Bond, MI6, right? So back to Israel and where I was going with the real estate. It's real estate. Trump understood it. There's one thing Trump understands, it's real estate. And if you look at how Trump does things, it's about gaining ground, gaining real estate. And if he's not actually getting real estate or transforming real estate or building a ballroom or whatever, right? Even those little things, that's how Trump does what Trump does. That's who he is in his nature, is to build things and to transform things connected to real estate, make things better and be a showman. And Israel and Palestine have been fighting over real estate. If you look at the fundamentals of it, and then obviously there's the war against, the biblical war, right? Or I'm gonna the traditional biblical war between the two countries, and I'm going to pull back on saying much about that because I'm not as educated as other people are. So, but I'm going to, I'll dip my toe in the water of the things I can verify. But there are a lot of people that just are very firm on how the Bible connects to Christianity in the sense that how we are supposed to support Israel. But it's a very Americana doctrine to support Israel. And a lot of people say we're a Christian nation, we are a Christian nation, hypothetically, but a lot of folks say we were founded on Christian principles, which is a misnomer. That's not true. The people that founded the country were a lot of scoundrels, warriors, men of blood, fighters, right? The country was founded on revolution and blood. So a lot of bad things those guys did, and a lot of things they did in their business that we would think would be very terrible, like owning slaves. A lot of the founding fathers did. So there's a lot of that that's hard for me to say, okay, clearly there's not Christianity running through the foundation of the nation, but it's been part of people building America. So I can work with that. So yes, and also freedom of religion was very important, right? So I can work with that. I can't necessarily work with everybody came over to make us Christians, or it was just a Christian, because they were fleeing the Church of England, in the sense that, like, if you spoke against the church, they would murder you, and you couldn't, the king would tax you and all these things and enslave you, put you in jail, and you couldn't have a divorce, and you couldn't do certain things without the church blessing it. So part of our persecution of our founding fathers was to get away from political persecution. And obviously in the Constitution, freedom of religion is fundamental. So it makes no sense to say, I'm just trying to give you my point here, where I'm going with that, because I want to qualify it, because it was controversial to say that. It makes no sense to say the founding fathers are like, we're bringing over Christianity, because that's not quite how it worked. But yes, there were a lot of Christians, the Pilgrims, all these things, very heavily influenced by Christian doctrine, and yes, there was a wave of Christianity that was in the people in the original colonies. Okay, right. So again, I'm not an expert on that stuff, but you can Google that shit, and I'm pretty much right on. So it's always been about real estate. We came over, founding fathers came over for a new land to find real estate. They fought the Native Americans, taking their land. That's still to this day, we're paying a price, for some of those sins of our forefathers. So it's the world has always been battling for territory, the occupation of land, and then the assimilation of what you get in that territory. So that's where we've been missing the mark, because the two-state solution and all that stuff, again, this is an old school conversation, but some of these terms, you'd have to look them up if you're under 30. But the solution of saying, they got to carve it up and all that, that made no sense. That makes no sense to two nations fighting it out for the same victory. That's just the way it works. The competition. That was never going to work. They got close to it, but there always had to be a winner and a loser. And the Palestinians were never going to win. Like, hypothetically, if you had them against Israel, you're not winning because Israel's just too strong. You're just not winning. I'm not making a moral distinction. I'm just saying you're not winning when you are a guerrilla nation of guerrilla fighters and you're up against a very large nation. Now, yes, in the 80s, Afghanistan, basically withstood the Soviet invasion. We went to Vietnam and got our asses kicked. And then Iraq didn't go too well. Or I'm sorry, at the Afghanistan withdrawal, Biden let us get our asses kicked again there. A lot of people say after 20 years, we lost that war essentially. And then right now, the Ukrainians are fighting, the Russians really well. So I'm not saying that's automatic. What I'm saying is it goes on forever, right? Until the generations, you have so many people killed that there's a break in the fighting, and then they go back to it. There's never been a solution until now. Now, I don't know all the details of it, but I do know the art of the deal is real, because Trump dealt with it like a real estate deal, giving pieces here and there, giving things. We're going to find out things that we gave up that we might not even be comfortable with, but it's important for the security of the nation, because if any of those psychopaths get a nuclear bomb, they're fucking using it. And I don't know how much more clear that could be to you guys. If you don't believe that, it's very clear that anybody in the Middle East, if they get the means to set off a nuclear weapon, they're going right to Israel, right? And they know it, because you take Israel off the map or you hit them hard, then that opens up, basically, then that's just a free for all, and then the war reboots. There would be a war for the Middle East, and most people say World War III will be the war for the Middle East if it goes that far. But it's not going there, at least now. At least hopefully for the next 10, 20 years, hopefully we can continue this process, and there's going to be a lot of healing that has to happen. But the art of the deal is real. And Trump, who didn't have to do it, which is so crazy. If you think about it, Donald Trump didn't have to do this. A lot of people thought he was wasting his time. And remember when he came out in the press conference, it was like, these guys don't know what the fuck they're doing. Remember that outside the helicopter? That was a sure, clear sign that this is a real deal for Trump. Like, he's trying to win this deal. And yes, for Trump, sure, it's posterity, it's ego. He did something Obama couldn't do, because Obama tried and he made it worse. He did something that Hillary couldn't do. She made it worse. Clinton couldn't do it. Bill and Hillary, they couldn't do it. And they're very connected to the Middle East. They just couldn't pull it off. But what they were able to pull off was a foundation for it. So I give them a lot of credit. So the art of the deal happened. The Democrats are sad. And Trump, he did it, man. He did it. And so we're going to talk about that. So I want to share a few things. I want to play, let's play some video here if you are inclined to watch it with me. I want to play something really interesting. And this was Donald Trump. Um, am I sharing it? Yeah. No, not yet. So this is Donald Trump. And he is he's at the, I think they call it the Knesset. I guess it's like, again, I'm not too hip to some of this, but it's the place where essentially like their Congress, I think. In so Trump's doing a speech, and here's the speech that he did. There was like a couple of speeches. The third speech was his celebrating the peace process. Quite interesting what he said.
Thanks to the Almighty God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
Look at that. Trump is saying, I'm giving thanks to Almighty God, which I thought was, that's just wild. Listen how excited they are. Very crazy. Very crazy.
After 2 harrowing years in darkness and captivity, 20 courageous hostages are returning to the glorious embrace of their families, and it is glorious. 28 more precious loved ones are coming home at last to rest in this sacred soil for all of time. And after so many years of unceasing war and endless danger, today the skies are calm, the guns are silent, the sirens are still, and the sun rises on a holy land that is finally at peace, a land and a region that will live, God willing, in peace for all eternity.
It's crazy.
This is not only the end of a war, this is the end of an age of terror and death and the beginning of the age of faith and hope and of God. It's the start of a grand concord and lasting harmony for Israel and all the nations of what will soon be a truly magnificent region. I believe that so strongly. This is the historic dawn of a new Middle East. I want to express my gratitude to a man of exceptional courage and patriotism, whose partnership did so much to make this momentous day possible. You know who I'm talking about. There's only one, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu.
There's only one.
Bibi, please stand up.
There's only one. So Trump knows how to, like, look at it, even claps for him. Trump knows how to make people feel special. He knows how to do it. You just don't understand how powerful he is one-on-one with people, especially world leaders.
And he is not easy, I want to tell you. He is not the easiest guy to deal with.
But that's funny.
But that's what makes him great. That's what makes him great.
Isn't that interesting? Trump says I thought when I watched this the first time, I thought that's such a powerful thing to say. And it's a testament to strong leaders and to strong leadership. Strong leaders are so misunderstood. But he says about, and again, think what you want about Bibi Netanyahu. Let's just talk about the moment. Let's celebrate today. Let's put all that aside. But Trump says he's hard to deal with, but that's what makes him great. That's such a tremendous statement. But unless you respect tough people, you don't really know what you can get when you make it happen with a tough person, right? Tough people are tough for a reason. They usually know how to win.
Thank you very much, baby. Great job.
Thank you very much, baby. Great job. Only Trump could tell Netanyahu, great job. Like, like he's working for him. And look, Trump the killer. He's killed terrorists. Let's just get this straight. He's killed terrorists that Bibi's wanted to kill, and Bibi's killed terrorists that they have a symbiotic relationship of killing people. And you know, I really think people misunderstand how much a world leader kills people, how many people they kill on a daily basis. I know that sounds nuts, but to get the job of president, you got to kill. Obama killed a ton of people with drones. George W. couldn't stop killing. Biden killed his share of people. You kill people when you become a world leader. And that is a very exclusive club where you have a license to kill. Think about that. He can pull the trigger on any foreign crazy lunatic within reason, right? And even just on speculation. The world leaders do that. It's an exclusive club. It's kind of frightening, but it's part of the job.
Convey my tremendous appreciation for all of the nations of the Arab and Muslim world.
So then he goes on to say, everybody helped, everybody pitched in, which is cool. I'm going to jump ahead. There's a moment where somebody stops the speech. It's pretty interesting. I'm trying to jump ahead here. See if I can catch it.
Thank several great Americans.
Oh, it's right here. He starts thanking Steve Witkoff, who's a real estate guy. He's a real estate guy. And Trump goes on to say that. Witkoff didn't know. Witkoff didn't know anything Middle East. He doesn't know anything about Russia. He goes on and later on in the speech, we won't play the whole thing, but Trump goes on to say how much Witkoff actually didn't know. He knew what he didn't know, and that is powerful. If you go in thinking you know it all, you're losing because nobody knows all of it. You don't know until you get there. And then when you get there, you know what you don't know, and you have to figure it out and learn. And Witkoff is a person that learns from people. And Trump goes on to tell a story later on. But I think the moment I wanted to point out happens here. So they're clapping for Witkoff because he's part of the deal. Without him, it wasn't going to happen.
You know, Steve was chosen by me. He never did this before, but I knew him as a few things. He was a great businessman.
Boom, right there. Trump trusts people that like money. If you don't like money in this business, why are you in it? It's the way it's money and power. It's politics.
But I know a lot of great businessmen, to be honest with you. He had tremendous negotiating skills, but
boom, he's a tremendous negotiator. Tremendous negotiators can go anywhere, and just as long as they can figure out what they're doing, they can make a deal.
I know a lot of people that negotiate pretty well, although it is an art. But there are people that can negotiate pretty well. But most importantly with Steve, he's just a great guy. Everybody loved him. Everybody.
Also, and again, culturally, when you have all these different countries and different culture you have to work with, everybody does have to love you. You have to be the good cop, bad cop. And everybody loves Trump in the Middle East as well. If they didn't, we wouldn't be talking about this. Trump would not be standing here. This would not have happened.
I mean, I know some negotiators that are so good, but you wouldn't have had peace in the Middle East. It would be in World War III right now with some of these guys. Everybody loves Steve. And
isn't it funny? Trump just jokes about stuff that you don't normally joke about with guys that could cause World War III. The guys that could cause it are sitting there, and he's joking about it. That's how crazy this is. Trump just does not give a fuck.
They respect him, and they somehow can relate to him. I've known him for many years, and I've seen it over and over again.
Okay, so here it goes. This is interesting. Check this out.
להוציא את חבר הכנסת עודה, להוציא אותו מהאולם, להוציא אותו מיד, החוצה, החוצה.
Please expel this Knesset member. Please expel this Knesset member.
להוציא גם את חבר הכנסת כסיף. להוציא את חבר הכנסת כסיף מהאולם.
Expel Knesset member Kasif out of the hall.
Drama.
Please expel him immediately.
You're like, get out, baby. We can grab that cat. Look at that. I really wish they did that in Congress. Wouldn't that be great?
Sorry for
So this guy interrupts, a couple of guys interrupt Trump because clearly they aren't on board with the peace, and they expel them. Wouldn't that be insanely cool if we saw clips of people getting thrown out of Congress all the time because they were just acting stupid and wouldn't shut the fuck up? I think we'd all feel better as a nation because these lunatics get there. And I know this is off the subject, but a lot of these lunatics just spew the most vile rhetoric and foolishness and nastiness, and they're allowed to do it. And they should sometimes be thrown out and say, you know what, this is not good for America. It's not. Now I understand free speech is cool, and I'm not saying not have your free speech, but do it outside, because sometimes you got to shut the fuck up, all right, and let the process happen. It's not all about you. And I thought that was just tremendous. Maybe that's not American to think that, but it would be invigorating to know that these politicians could get ousted and just put outside if they're not working with how we do things. Now listen to what they say to Trump at this point.
For that, Mr. President.
They apologize to him. Other countries treat Donald Trump with more respect than our Congress does. Now, I'll say this. It's okay to disrespect the president. That's the right they have. And part of that process is important to America. You should disrespect each other a little bit and fight. That disagreement is important. But when it comes to peace, and when it comes to, getting the government opened up, and when it comes to taxes and keeping people from going bankrupt, when it comes to gas price, when it comes to energy, certain things should get done, and everybody should try to find a solution and not be an obstructionist. It only hurts the people. So anyway, just thought I'd throw that out there. I thought it was a pretty interesting moment. Dramatic zoom.
That was very efficient.
They love him. They think it's funny.
So back to Steve.
He's I'm sorry. I think Trump's really funny. You may be watching this going, "Oh, Jason, he's the devil." Okay, whatever. But he's funny. He makes me laugh, man. And we need that, because the truth is, Joe Biden made me sad all the time. He never made me laugh. He made me feel terrified by his just bad decisions. And I know you may think Trump terrifies you. That's fine. But I think he's funny. But see, I was a big fan of his television show, and for years before that, a fan of like Trump Tower and boxing, and he was very instrumental in entertainment and a trendsetter. And Miss USA pageant, I always thought Trump was cool, right? And a lot of people, a lot of stars and rappers had either Trump on their television show or writing songs about Trump. And so when it turned into the Democrats and the anarchists just turning it into just this whole flipping the script on Trump, there's a lot of people that just couldn't really buy that as being a genuine thing, because we knew the brand of Trump and we knew who he was, right? We know he's a brash guy, all these things. So anyway, but he's also pretty funny. So that was pretty interesting. I want to talk about Hillary. That's all I'm going to show you. I want to talk about Bill and Hillary. Let's go into some of the news coverage here. And the Democrats are sad except for Bill and Hillary. And look what Bill says. Now Bill's he's had a couple of heart surgeries, and he's hanging in there, and he is enemy number one when it comes to Epstein. He spent more time on the plane and on the island than most people. So let's put that aside. But Bill Clinton is highly respected in the Middle East. Huge statesman. And I'll tell you this, Trump and Clinton used to be cool friends. They were going to each other's weddings and stuff. And the only reason Hillary and Bill were not involved in this, in my opinion, was because of all the bad blood and the nastiness, and obviously Hillary, the Steele dossier. And I even think Trump would have let that go, even Russiagate, because Trump lets shit go. But when they tried to put him in jail and they terrified his family and all these things and raided Mar-a-Lago, I think that's where he's like, "Are you serious?" And then obviously accused him of treason with the J6ers. That's where I think he drew the line. So anyway, Bill would have been super helpful. And who knows, maybe behind the scenes, Bill was back channeling. That happens. You think they're all hating each other, but they're back. Sometimes they need each other. They imagine the experience that a president has, or even Hillary, who was close to it, right? She was co-president. Think about the power in that unity and just the incredible knowledge the Clintons have. So anyway, Bill Clinton gave Donald Trump praise. Clinton said, and I don't necessarily have a video of this, but I have another video of Bill I'm going to play you. Clinton said he praised Trump for his administration's efforts in brokering the Israel-Hamas ceasefire. I'll say this. It's really Israel and Palestine. We call it Israel-Hamas because Hamas took over and transformed the old school. It was basically new lions, new terrorists, new, more vicious guys trained by ISIS, trained by the most radical monsters in the Middle East to bring more of a lethal attack power to the old Palestinian terrorist group, which was the PLO, which was essentially, old guy. All the old guys were dying off, right? So it was revitalized. So it's now called Hamas, but back in the day we called them the PLO. So it's really Israel, Palestine, but you can say Israel, Hamas. I'm just making that distinction because people get lost thinking, oh, Hamas is not Palestine. It's the same. It's basically the sons of these old lunatic terrorists that are keeping the fire burning. So he said, the president and his regional partners deserve great credit for keeping negotiations on track. The horrors of October 7th, listen to that, okay? Everybody under 40, everybody 40 and up, most of us that are not crazy know that the attack on Israel was an abomination on the 7th, and it was horrific, and it really happened, and it was probably worse than was even reported because there were things that we probably still don't know happened because it would happen in the dark corners of these regions. But most of what we know is terrifying enough. So we're just not even going to qualify any bullshit that this wasn't as bad as it was. It was bad enough for Israel to gas up the jets and try to kill as many Palestinians as they could and starve them out. It was that important to Israel. It was that horrific. So I think we all have to understand that was a big factor. It doesn't excuse continual killing of innocents. It doesn't excuse that because here we are. Was it 2 years later or something? But we're even losing track. But they fucking started it. And then they kept the hostages, knowing that would piss off Israel. They did, killing babies in front of their mothers and killing the elderly and killing the vulnerable and killing concert goers. Let's not fool ourselves here. They did exactly what Hamas did exactly what they wanted to do to fucking piss off Israel, to basically stick the middle finger up to them saying, we're the new monsters in town. We're even more bloodthirsty than you even imagine. And so what do you think Israel's going to do? They're just going to gas up the jets and try to murder as many of those monsters as they could. And that's what happened. Okay, so the horrors of October 7th. It just really was, that was a triggering statement for me because I don't really talk about it much on the podcast, but I'm not pleased with anybody that tries to equate. I'm just not, there's no equation either side. It's bad on either side. And Trump knew it was getting too, it was over the top. We all knew it was over the top, right? So we had to, as a global community, we had to do something. And I'm trying to be sensitive how I say this because some of you watching this might be so radicalized by what you've seen on the internet, and it's all terrible stuff. Of course it is. That you hate Israel or you hate Netanyahu, you hate, what happened. Of course we all hate what happened. Nobody wants innocent people to be terrorized and murdered in war. But unfortunately, they brought this shit on themselves to a certain extent. So there's no justification. I'm just glad it's over. And we should be able to talk like that. That's normal conversation. If I can't say that, if you can't say that, then where are we? We used to be able to talk about this all the time in America. We used to be able to really hotly debate this without people trying to fire us or dox us or hate us. It's just the woke mentality that has been pushed on us over the last 4 years of what Biden was doing, started to creep into everything we were doing. So we can't have conversations about, was it the chicken or the egg, right? It's always, everything is so equated. Everything is so, everybody's bad or everybody's good. It's not that easy. But the one thing that is easy is to say, hey, we know who started this shit. We know who started this, at least in this present, situation. So he said the horrors of October 7th, the attack on Israel and the conflict, they reignited. Interesting. He knows what he's talking about. They reignited it because Israel had been beating down the terrorists. Israel had the upper hand, but it was reignited. Clinton said it has resulted in unbearable human loss. 100%, he's right. No, it's even though Hamas brought it on themselves, nobody wanted that to happen, and the Palestinian people deserve freedom. They deserve, to live. It has been hard to watch and nearly impossible to rationalize. Well said. He said, I'm grateful that a ceasefire has taken hold, that the last 20 hostages have been freed. And that's how we know this is real, man, because they would never let the hostages go unless this was for real peace. And obviously Hamas knows coming to the end of this shit, because if they weren't willing to bend, then it was going to be worse. And nobody was stopping Israel, even though there's a lot of pressure on them. They were still, hey, do your thing. And Trump was allowing them to purchase weapons. So, and Biden funded it too. So there was no winning if you're on the Hamas side here. But this is a win-win for everybody. They're going to get some things that people are going to be unhappy with, and they're going to get to be rebuilt, and they're going to get, a lot of really cool stuff. And they're going to maybe start to feel like they can rebuild in a couple of years emotionally. I mean, it's going to take it'll take years for both sides. And that's why we're hoping this lasts for at least 5 to 10. We hope it lasts forever, but at least give us 5 years. Then people can start feeling better and get over the losses. So Clinton goes on to say, I'm grateful that a ceasefire has taken hold. Last 20 hostages have been freed, and that desperately needed aid has begun to flow into Gaza. That's really important too. Trump said in his speech earlier today, the fighting has stopped. It's quiet. The bombing has stopped. The fighting has stopped, and the food's coming in, and people are going to get taken care of. And we're all going to bring in a peacekeeping force, which is awesome, to help the people be free from Hamas. You also need to know, you may not have understood this, but once the peace deal was done, Hamas started going out and killing people that helped Israel, or that they thought they were. Today there's like 20 or 30 killings of people by Hamas, of their own citizens who they thought helped Israel, because there's this period of time where everybody can settle their problems, and that's what they're doing. That's an underreported story, but it has been reported. So I think in the next couple of days, all that stuff has to stop as well. So Clinton says, and he goes on to say, President Trump and his administration, Qatar and other regional actors have deserve great credit for keeping everyone engaged until the agreement was reached. Clinton knows what he's talking about. And then here's the statement on X. And, I just got to say, I feel really happy for Bill, because, what is he? He's almost 80 or whatever too. Like Trump, he's like the same age, and Biden. And he worked really hard on this. And I'm glad that Bill Clinton could see this before, he goes on to the other side. I'm not trying to be dark. I'm just saying it's amazing. He put a lot of work into this. Clinton added that with support from the U.S. and the region and the world, Israel and Hamas must try to turn this fragile moment into lasting peace that provides the dignity and security for both Palestine and Israelis. He is so freaking right. He's so freaking right. It's a very fragile thing, but see, Trump's not fragile, and that's what keeps it together. Because if they back out on this shit, Trump's going to go crazy. And we never had that with other presidents, even Clinton. Clinton was tough, but Clinton would not hold them accountable if they backed out of peace deals. He just didn't. Trump will hold them accountable. So I feel good for everybody. Now, speaking of Clinton, here's a clip I want to play. And once you listen to this clip, you're going to learn about Bill Clinton's heart and how important this was to him, because he was the guy. You'll have to go back in history. He was the guy who was this close. He was the guy before Trump that pulled it off. He was this close to get everybody at the table. And they were actually shaking hands, and they were agreeing on some things. The Palestinians in Israel, their leadership, all those leaders are gone now. And so, it's all these new leaders of both sides. But Watch this clip, and I'm going to check the audio to make sure it goes through because I haven't played clips from Reddit before. But bear with me. But go ahead.
Happened there in the last 25 years is one of the great tragedies of the 21st century. And when I tell the young people, for example, who are understandably in America, or let's say they're super sympathetic with the Palestinians.
Okay, now that's important. That's really important, and I'll reference that after this clip. Keep that in mind.
Well, they've been killed. A lot of those Palestinians have, and all they know is that a lot more Palestinians have been killed than Israelis. And I tell them what Arafat walked away from.
So Yasser Arafat was the leader of the Palestinians at the time.
And they can't believe it. I said, oh yeah, he walked away from a Palestinian state.
So that was something, real estate, right? That's what Clinton was trying to do, but they realized it would never work to have a two-state solution. But Israel was close to agreeing to that because the brutality and the fighting was unprecedented. Now let me draw a distinction here. Arafat, they at least had a government. Palestine had at least people that were acting as the government of Palestine. Hamas, they're a terrorist organization that took over that government. That's how bad it got because they couldn't solve the problems, and they knew it was going to get there because every generation gets more radical when it comes to this kind of insane culture of murder and violence for real estate.
With the capital in East Jerusalem, 96% of the West Bank, 4% of Israel, to make up for the 4% that the settlers occupy that were beyond the.
That's a sweetheart deal that Clinton worked out. And everything he just broke down was real estate. Back to my point. What is this ultimately about?
Borders in the 67 war.
Now, there was a war in 67, and I think it was like 7 Arab countries. Egypt was involved too that attacked Israel. It was like the 7-Day War, I think. Could be wrong, guys. But anyway, Israel took land from these countries when they pushed back and won this war.
And I go through all the stuff that was in the deal, and they it's not on their radar screen. They can't even imagine.
It's not on the radar screen.
That happened. And I tell them, the first and most famous victim of an attempt to give the Palestinians a state was Prime Minister Rabin.
Now listen to this. Itzhak Rabin,
whom I think loved as much as I ever loved another man.
He was very good friends with Clinton.
And so Rabin, he dies, and then Shimon Peres is defeated in the election, and where the rest of it is history. But you walk away from these once in a lifetime.
Itzhak Rabin, by the way, was assassinated right before the deal. It was devastating. People killed the leaders to stop peace. Assassination, that's something we're dealing with again, right? Ring a bell.
Peace opportunities. And you can't complain 25 years later when the doors weren't all still open and all the possibilities weren't still there. You can't do it. It's just.
Your voice just cracked when you said that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because he was a good friend of his and he was murdered senselessly. And
I'm an old guy. I have my regrets. That's one of them.
Interesting, right? That's like that. I'm getting emotional because I remember that. It was just devastating, right? It was devastating because, I mean, if you paid attention to geopolitics, we all did. That was clearly before you had iPhones where you could, brainwash yourself into playing a game all day. So you don't have Animal Farm or some shit. So you don't have to worry about the world. That was before gaming was like a career. We're on an hour. I'm gonna wrap up because that's all I wanted to do. I had so much more to talk about. I always like have all these notes and all these things to cover, but I'm gonna leave it there because it really is emotional for me to think about. Um, I'm serious. I'm getting emotional just thinking about like watching that clip with Clinton again because I like Clinton a lot. I liked him a lot. I was big Clinton fan. I studied Clinton in college and wrote a thesis on him. And I read, I think there was like 7 books. There were books written on Clinton before the scandal even happened with Monica, like that. And then we all lived through that. But Bill Clinton, Middle East peace was so important to Bill Clinton, and he made us all care about it. And when he just that clip is, I remember first watching that clip. It was super emotional for me. Like I think I didn't watch it today for the first time. I watched it, God, like a year ago. And that clip was burned in my mind. And before I jumped on tonight, I opened it up and said, that clip, boom. I want to talk about that clip because that made me cry the first time I watched it. I'm right here. I'm emotional because I think about the assassination, how close they were, and people. In fact, Yasser Arafat. Arafat was. I'm not crying. I'm losing my voice though because I'm talking. But I'm close to it. Yasser Arafat was not a good guy, but like Bill Clinton was hanging out with him and stuff, and it was just this is a little distracting. Was hanging out with him and stuff, and so they were rehabbing his image, and he was getting a lot of good press, and they were doing. Clinton was very like. I have to say, Trump and Clinton are the most gregarious presidents we've had since Reagan. Like a guy that could just go in and be a star and win you over, and everybody loved Clinton. In fact, Hillary was so dour and so so uh, rude and so different than Clinton. People were just like not understanding, right? But thank God, we have peace in the Middle East, and you know, I talk about the Democrats a lot. I talk about how the Democrats are anarchists to a certain extent, and they've been hijacked by the anarchy group in our country, the lunatics, and they have. And I feel bad for Democrats, and they've ruined the party. It's almost not even a party anymore. But there are real Democrats out there, and I love you guys. You're my friends because we're all the same. Democrats and Republicans are the same. It's this offshoot of anarchy that has been created just by people trying to just get personal gain and steal things and get political power and blame Trump for it. It's a game. But real Democrats know how big this is for the world. You guys know, like Clinton was saying, if you're only 25 years old and all you've seen is the Palestinian stuff on the internet and that propaganda, and yes, it's bad. Of course, it's terrible. You're dropping bombs on innocent people. It's terrible. But Clinton's words are so important, and he was the leader of the Democrat Party for 20 years until Obama came, and he's not really much of a leader of the party. They were after Obama, they were something like 80 million in debt. The DNC was just a disaster. What the Obamas did to ruin the progress of the Democrat Party. But Bill Clinton people still favor, they're committed. The Clintonistas the people that work for Clinton, so committed to them. And people love the thought that Hillary might be the second coming of her husband and get Bill in the White, like people, because, and you ask yourself, like, okay, Hillary's a nasty person, right? That's a nasty woman, like Trump said. You believe all these things about Hillary, but a lot of people were willing to vote for Hillary because Bill and Hillary had the ability to try to at least bring peace to the Middle East, which is so unstable, especially after Bush. So, and ISIS and Al Qaeda and all that. And after that, we got through that cycle. You might hate Hillary, and I'm not an apologist for her. I'm just speaking factual, just the facts, no judgment on this podcast. Now, I will judge things, but I'm just trying. We all lived through the last 40 years of seeing the terrorism and the murder and the killing and the bombing and the threats, and always feeling like we're on the edge of World War III, and the stress from that and the tension from that, because no one in our country was willing to do what Bill and Hillary and Trump were willing to do. Joe Biden never tried. He couldn't do it because he was too busy stealing from Ukraine. He was too busy enriching his family. Obama, too busy enriching his legacy and his family. I'm not hating on Obama. I'm just saying he could have done it, but because he was too arrogant and he was looking at trying to be better than Hillary, Hillary was working with him, but they were always battling. And then there was just a lot of issues with Obama just trying to spy on Americans, and then the Snowdens. Like, there was so much internal strife with Obama and trying to just jack up the military industrial complex. And Obama was very big on the spy network and really just giving resources to pushing the CIA into destabilizing. And then the Arab Spring, they were involved in that. And then just Syria, and Obama and Hillary fucked that up. It was just, Obama was just not the right guy for that. He was not a world-class president. He was a domestic president, and that's fine. But there's just, you got to be a world-class person. Bill and Hillary had that, and Trump clearly is a world-class leader. So I want to take an hour to celebrate with you guys. Like, if you're watching this in the next year or the next couple of months and you're younger, just take some of what I talked about and just look for yourself, investigate, and understand that it's not what you're being told by radicals that are in the streets dressed like Hamas. That's not what it's about. It's not, the real Democrats know they're not on the streets doing that. They know that you have to support the process because America was the only giant that could get it done for all sorts of reasons. It's not about cosplaying in the streets and being a paid protester and being on social media and being a fool and dressing like a terrorist sympathizer and getting arrested because you don't understand how to be a constructive, real, legitimate protest. It's not about that. It's about real estate. It's about this planet. It's about the future. And every leader has to look out for the future of his country. Netanyahu, the same, just like us. So I just say hats off to President Trump. God bless him. God bless Clinton, man. President, I just feel happy for Clinton. I feel happy for Hillary. Look, you may hate her, but I feel happy for her. I didn't play her clip. She went out last week and said maybe a couple of days ago, Condoleezza Rice. The Bush people hate Trump. Everybody that hates Trump, if the real ones, have come out and said, except for Obama. Obama is mad at him, but I get it. It's bad blood. I don't blame Obama because they hate each other. But still, I mean, come on. But it's whatever. Because Obama's now trying to plug into the anarchy. It's fine. It's his new thing. But I just feel excited for Hillary and Bill, man. I hope they have a drink. I hope they crack open a bottle of like they need to go like old school, like Michelob. They need to, or some Bud Light. Just crack some open and sit down and pour out an old drink from the 90s, and be like, God damn it, man. We live to see this. Because the killing has stopped. That's what's important. The babies can come home, man. They were babies that were hostages, and they came home earlier, and now the adults, and then the bodies can come home. There's clips of in the hostage transfer, which happened in the middle of the night last night when you were in bed. People just weeping. They're people. The hostages came home, and it's a glorious thing for both sides because the killing can stop. And so I'm looking forward to Trump Taj Mahal in Gaza. Oh man, okay, it's too emotional tonight. I need to chill out. All right. God bless you guys. So thanks for watching, man. Look, we're just having fun on the internet. We're just having fun. Just the facts, no judgment. That's how I live my life. But I will judge you if the facts call on it. God bless you guys. Hey, follow me on Facebook. You may not know this, but I have a Facebook group that's almost 2,000 members for this show. I know you're like, people watch this shit. I know, right? So it's called The Companion, the Jason J Show Companion. Then I have another, I think 1,200 on my personal page, the Jason J Daniel page, right? I know I have my own fan page. Who is this guy? So they both have been, I changed the Jason J Daniel fan page to, I know. It's very Trump of me, to the Jason J Daniel Show page. So essentially it's like almost 4,000. Is that math working out? Yeah, like 3,500. Very Trump. I'm embellishing. 3,500 so check that out. The videos are there. I post them later. Also, you can follow me on Rumble or follow me sorry, let me take a step back. I'm so excited. I was just thinking about TikTok. Which has been blowing up. Over 100,000 views last night. It's crazy. So YouTube, subscribe on YouTube. Guys, we're really close to 1,000 on YouTube. I'm very close. I think I'm 63 or something away from 1,000 subscribers. That's huge. It takes me to the next level. If you subscribe on Rumble, jump to YouTube, Jason J. Daniel. Subscribe there. Please do both. Please. I'm begging you. And then if you're interested in sports, if you know me, you know I also do sports. On TikTok, I just do sports on TikTok, no politics. Jason, we'll see, but I don't do anything with sports. Real Jason J. Daniel on TikTok. NFL is huge right now. So last night, no, it's actually over 100,000. It's been blowing off. Sorry, blowing off. It's been blowing up. Blowing off sounds lame. I had something in my eye. It's been popping off. So I did 3 or 4 TikToks last night about NFL. And before I jumped on, one of them was like at 135,000 views, 2,000 likes, and 200 comments saying I'm stupid. So check it out. Check me out on TikTok. It's crazy. So we're like probably at almost 170,000 views just in like 12 hours. It's crazy. So follow me on TikTok if you're interested in sports. Obviously, IG, it's my personal page. You can follow me. I have 2, and there we go. And then again, please subscribe. Rumble, Twitch. If you're watching on Twitch, I've got a few people. I see you guys on Twitch. I can see the numbers. Thank you for watching on Twitch. I have to work on that page a little bit. I haven't been on that much, so forgive me. But message me. If you want to get a hold of me, I get so many messages, and a lot of them are really nasty. And people are mean. So it's hard for me to actually cipher them without it being emotionally traumatic. So if you're interested in getting a hold of me and giving me a show idea or something like that, X is the way to go. Follow me on X. That's usually where you can DM me. I get show ideas. People talk to me, give me interview ideas. I really appreciate that. By the way, interview tomorrow. Check it out. 12 noon. It's going to be great. You can always watch it streaming. So there you go. There's the advertisement. Thank you for watching the Jason J. Daniel Show. Again, my name is Jason J. Daniel. God bless you. Go with God. It's a really amazing night. It's a great day for peace. It's awesome. We're going into the holidays. It's just, I feel so good about the future of America. Even though we got major problems, at least that we got peace in the Middle East and the hostages came home. So God bless them. God bless the president. Hey, man. God bless Congress. God bless you. Take care of your family. Hug them. We love you. Bye now.